of what was going on there and see if you can see any of that, because you can't. Now, we don't know who this video is from. The last one was from Seattle Reddit. This one is this is from via Claire Elliott Yaza, but I don't know who took it exactly. There was nothing on there with the video, so apologies for lack of credit. But this guy was trying to basically, de-escalate, but I think he could see what was going on.
Now they done brought out the troopers. And I'm going to tell you something. The troopers ain't got no problem firing. These guys, the troopers ain't got no issue letting loose. We saw the troopers on Saturday. Now this situation is escalating.
So what he's just said is that it appears that the local police are replaced with the state troopers. And that makes him nervous because he realizes these guys have a greater propensity to let loose. But go ahead.
If you know anybody, tag and share this stream. This is right now live in East Precinct. The officers have changed their posture. This gentleman right here grabbed the barricade, and now you see they're reinforcing the barricade. We have not heard an audible anything from an authority here. The umbrellas are out. We're getting pushed back. Don't spray that shit. Don't spray it. Don't spray it. Okay, the umbrellas are here. You see people put out the umbrellas to block the spray. It's rowdy right here. Hold on. Let me bring it down. Let's just try to de-escalate. Let's try to de-escalate this. Let's just try to bring this down, guys. It's a lot of worse shit than going to jail. Like a flashbang, shrapnel, or something. Let's bring this down. Let's bring this shit down. So we see him grabbing the umbrella. There's the spray. It's on now. It's on. East Precinct. They're losing control. State police are trying to open the barricade. They're putting the pepper spray in the air. Share this stream. Tag and share this stream. Share the stream. God damn it, they got me, you motherfuckers. I'm gonna eat this shit though. There it is. It's a crush. I got pepper spray all over me. They're not moving. I got sprayed. But shit, I've been through worse. Barricade is up. The officers are coming with the spray. And this is exactly what's happened here. Get the fuck out my way. Let's see here. This is what's going on. I only got one eye. These are flashbangs. They're deploying flash. Hey, bring this shit down. Bring it down. This is...
That's all we found of that live stream. But it's pretty apparent that in the moments before, just at the moment they start spraying, there is absolutely no reason for them to spray. I don't even think they said disperse, frankly. But who cares if they did? There is no threat to any of those cops. There's no indication that there's any threat to anything there. But this is the posture that police departments have been taking across the country. And I don't know what ends up mitigating this. I don't know what ends up being the limiting principle. We had a situation in Washington, D.C. last night where like 100 protesters were chased by the cops, and and some guy apparently just let them into their house. And the cops stayed on that street out in front. And I'm talking like 50, 100 cops just waiting for them to come out. For all I know, they're still there. It's like a hostage situation, like a reverse hostage situation. It's very messed up. And I don't know how this, I really don't know how this ends. Let's go to calling from a 360 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Oh, hold on one second. You there?
Hello, this is Justin from Washington.
Justin from Washington. What's on your mind?
Well, my very first protest was Saturday in Seattle, and I was there right before the gas and flashbangs, and it was peaceful, totally peaceful until that happened. I didn't see the rest of it as I got out of there, so I was parked really close. I am now protesting yesterday, and I'm looking to protest today. And we all cannot stop protesting.
Who is out there?
We do this every day.
Who is out there? I mean, give me a sense of the folks in Seattle that you're seeing at these protests.
They're just regular people. They've got the signs. They're just chanting, standing around, pushing for change. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, give me a relative breakdown of. Oh, there was like 100, 200 people where I was at the very end before they started throwing the gas.
The ages of people.
Oh, all over the place. From they're bringing kids all the way up to 70 or so. There's one guy out there with drums chanting and yelling and helping us communicate and chant. There was a lot of that for about 2 hours until 3 o'clock when they attacked us. And there was no reason for it. It's totally ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate you going out there. Stay safe, Justin.
Yes, I'll try to stay safe and keep my cell phone and keep watching them.
Okay.
Thank you for what you guys do too.
All right. Well,
talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye. Calling from an 801 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Sam. This is Kyle from Salt Lake City. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, Kyle from Salt Lake City. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to first say that, unfortunately, I was a victim of some looting that took place last week. Oh. And by a victim of looting, I mean that a private equity company acquired the company that I work for and fired 150 of us last week during a pandemic that had nothing to do with the pandemic. So, yeah, that was some cool looting that took place that I'm not seeing any outrage about. So I figured I would share because I think that's pretty egregious thing to do at this time.
It's unbelievable, and they clearly use the pandemic as an excuse. I mean, I think frankly, there's a lot of that's going on.
So we got completely gutted, and yeah. So that was there was a good Onion article that was just like looters failed to form a private equity firm first, and that was where they went wrong before robbing a Target or whatever.
What was? Do you mind telling me the company or no?
Probably should keep it on the DL a little bit, but it was a tech company here in Salt Lake. Yeah,
Sorry
not going to go into any more detail than that on the company itself. But also, I mean, like we've been doing super well too because we are online. We're a company that was benefiting from a lot of people spending a lot of time on their computers. I'll just say that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so I'll just briefly talk about the protests in Salt Lake if you'd like to hear. And
sure.
I could go into the All Lives Matter Archer as well because he's actually still not arrested. He did an interview from home
was
yesterday.
He in Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Let's play this. We were talking about this earlier. I don't know if we have the footage. There's two clips, right? We have the clip yesterday of him coming out. So the first clip is this guy basically driving his car into the middle of a protest and getting out, putting an arrow, I don't know if he had a quiver or what, putting an arrow into his bow, pulling back, firing the bow, missing a protester, and all right, so
also yelling "All Lives Matter" before taking aim at the protest.
Let's hear. Do we have this clip, Brendan? Okay, I'll play this one. There he is.
Look at this.
you get my car?
You call yourself an American?
Yes, I'm American. All lives matter.
That's right, but they won't matter until we're... Don't you dare! This is his car. This is his car. What the...
Fuck him up! Fuck that bitch up!
So, and as far as I could tell, I don't know if there was a compound bow or not, but it doesn't matter. But it would if it actually hit you. And I mean, that's a hunting bow. And
yeah, so could I talk about like what happened with that whole thing? Because he tried to, so that happened, and he immediately got pulled by the news who were there. And
well, wait a second, we have that clip, I think. So
okay.
he gets, as you can see, he was rushed by all the protesters, and they beat him up. And Brendan, do you have the next clip?
I need to look for that.
Okay. And so he goes, apparently, he goes to, I don't know if the hospital or where it was, but the local news interviews him. And apparently, I don't know how they didn't get the whole story.
No idea. Yeah, no clue.
And do you know that he's going to claim in this clip, as Brendan finds it, that his car was set on fire? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so it actually was. It was kind of confusing because, so this was on Saturday. The protest started pretty early, and it had been very peaceful throughout the morning and afternoon, mainly because the city and the police made a very conscious decision to let the protesters, do some graffiti, throw some eggs or whatever, and just march very peacefully. In fact, like we were outside the precinct and all the cops were just inside, like looking out. It's like a very glass building, and they were all just looking outside from inside the building. So they had made that conscious decision to not escalate things at a certain point. And I don't know what exactly flipped to make all the cops and the National Guard come out. But at some point, there was someone who was not happy with the protests. They ran into some protesters with their car. I didn't see that one on the news, but I have some friends who were right behind the car, and the cops got that one on video. And so soon after that, there was an empty cop car that was flipped over and lit on fire in the middle of a major road in Salt Lake. And that's when things really turned up a notch, and like the National Guard came in, our governor, and like a lot of the local Republican officials started like really freaking out about it. And so that's when they brought everyone in. And soon after that is when the Archer showed up as well.
Okay. So the Archer gets in his car, he sees this on TV probably, and he drives down there, gets out of his car.
Oh, yeah.
With his car.
So we had been like monitoring, because on Twitter, we had been getting some like messages from guys who are like, so every time like Governor Herbert or whoever sends out a tweet about the protests, you get a bunch of guys that are like, if you guys don't protect the city, like we're going to show up and do that same thing. So I was expecting there to be some guys like that. We had seen some Proud Boys earlier in the day, but I didn't expect that type of weaponry from these militiamen. So there, I expected someone to show up and kind of like agitating people.
The guy's obviously somewhat disturbed, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is not even to say that
because I saw a tweet that said his car had been burned, but it was a picture of the cop car. But it did turn out that his car was burned. I got
to be honest with you.
I don't know if Brendan found the clip.
I'm not surprised if his car was burnt, because he went out there with a compound bow and is firing at people. This is a bow that is, this is a hunting bow. Did
Brendan find the clip of him lying about what happened?
Well, here is the interview. And it's, look, you're going to go and interview somebody and get their side of the story. You may want to just sort of double check on this, but here is the news report. Go ahead.
You guys tell me your name one more time.
Brandon McCormick.
Brandon McCormick, he says his car was turned over and set on fire because he yelled, "All lives matter." What happened?
I got beat up. Well, first I got beat up when I yelled, "All lives matter." Then I pulled out weapons. Then I got beat up some more. Then the cops grabbed me, and my car got totaled. My phone, everything. I lost everything. Coming down here to try to protect them with what weapons I had. because I am a ex-felon. I've changed my life, and I back up the law enforcement. You know, I know some cops are bad. I know some people, all races are